So in this presentation, we're going to look at innovation and how we can make good ideas come about. In Steve Johnson's new book, Where Good Ideas Come From, he takes a look at what kind of environments and make innovation possible for us to do, and what are the best ways to create new ideas that have lasting effects. So he begins by breaking down innovation into 4 quadrants. First are quadrants 1 and 2, which can be characterized by market innovations. These are innovations planned to capitalize directly on the sale of the invention that we're licensing. So some examples you can see are the printing press, Carrier's air conditioning, things like that. Then he moves to quadrants 3 and 4, which are described by non-market innovations. These are innovations where people do not really look for their ideas to be sold. They look for them more to be put out there freely and shared between people. And here we have some examples of those. He then further characterizes innovations by individual. These are innovations where a small coordinated team within an organization or a singular individual inventor create the idea and share it with others. He then goes on to define quadrants 2 and 4 are joined by a networked group of innovators. This is innovations that are evolved through collective or distributed process with large number of groups or people working on the same problem at different times, oftentimes in different places. So after we've defined these quadrants and what kind of characterizes them, we can begin to fill them in. So we've taken approximately 200 innovations or breakthroughs that have happened in the last 600 years, and we've put them in each individual quadrant. The things that we can notice is that quadrant 4, which is the non-market network quadrant, has the most. We oftentimes think that quadrant 1 is the best quadrant, where we imagine some sort of business behind closed doors in research and development developing something. But Johnson makes the point that we need to really move to quadrant 4. In this quadrant is where real innovation happens and where real lasting ideas can take place. So we're primarily going to look at how innovation happens in 3 places: the reef, the city, and the web. The reef gives us some great examples of how innovation happens naturally. A city happens over time and it evolves as people move in and needs change. And the web, which happens relatively fast. In the last 10 years or so, the web has just exploded. And the first way we can do innovation is through the adjacent possible. What this means is that basically we have a room of thoughts, and when you open one door on a thought, it leads to more thoughts. And you can't move ahead until you've done that. So an example is YouTube. This is an innovation that was not possible even 10 years ago, but as the internet evolved, it became more possible as things got created. Another example is incubators that people have used in third world countries that are made of automotive parts. People have noticed that expensive technology is donated, and oftentimes it breaks down and there's no one there to fix it. So some people have invented an incubator that uses car parts. So next comes liquid networks, which can be characterized kind of by a coffeehouse idea where ideas move freely and openly between people. The city is a great example of this, where you have many people living together with different ideas and different cultures, and they all come together and kind of mix, and wondrous ideas and innovations can come out of that. After that, we have slow hunch, which is an idea where you have many ideas that evolve oftentimes in the background, in the back of your head or somewhere else, that are not necessarily connected and need to be connected somehow. Some examples of this are FBI agents who had some different hunches and information regarding 9/11, but there was no one there to connect them. Another idea to foster slow hunches is something called a commonplace book. I think this is a concept that's been lost on people recently, but this is an idea where you write everything down and take lots of notes and you connect them all later. There's some great computer programs out currently that do that for people, so the commonplace book has kind of been replaced by technology. So next comes serendipity, and this is sort of like eureka moments, where ideas that you've had the slow hunch about somehow come together, whether it's through a dream or by seeing something unrelated. An idea of this is the Green Exchange created by Nike. This is where Nike has put out some of their materials and just asked people to create products for them or to use their products. So then that brings us to error. This is oftentimes an overlooked process of innovation, where mistakes can oftentimes be greatly helpful to future innovations. Edison is famous for this, for his light bulb, for saying that he didn't find just one thing that worked, but more importantly, he found 10,000 things that didn't work for his light bulb. So next in our process of innovation, we have exaptation. This is the idea of borrowing pieces from here and there to make your innovation come about. This can be characterized by a large circle of friends. The more people you have around you, the more ideas, the more pieces you can borrow from others to put into your idea and to create something new. Then that brings us to platforms. Similar to the Adjacent Possible, where it opened new ideas, this one puts a whole floor on top of a new idea and builds upon the building of that idea. A great example of this is GPS and a program called Apps for Democracy. This is a program that was used to create apps for open platforms like the iPhone and Android. So this then brings us back to the Reef, which again is a great example of these ideas. It uses platforms built by the coral, and it uses exaptation of using waste from certain people to give food to others to create a great life, a great place for life. Then that brings us to City and Web, which again are great liquid networks where large groups of friends and lots of slow hunches can all meet and collaborate together, and somehow hunches can form and ideas can be created. So all this brings us back to the idea that we want to move more towards the fourth quadrant. We need to strive towards that as we think of ideas that we can share with people and as we try to innovate good things that we can implement into our lives, into our workplaces, or into society as a whole. And if we can do that, we can all become more innovative together.